Hi, today we'll be teaching you about the nervous system. Dendrites first receive signals from other neurons, and the cell body helps receive these signals. The cone-shaped base of an axon, the axon hillock, is where signals that travel down the axon are generated. Each branched end of an axon transmits information to another cell at the synapse. So how does the message get passed through the axon? It happens through a series of sodium-gated ion channels and action potential. In the resting state, the gated Na+ and K+ channels are closed. In depolarization, a stimulus opens some sodium channels. Na+ flows through the channels and depolarizes the membrane. In the rising phase of the action potential, the potassium channels remain closed and the Na+ influx makes the inside positive with respect to the outside. In falling phase or repolarization, the sodium channels become inactivated. Potassium channels open and K+ flows out, making the inside negative again. In the undershoot, the sodium channels close, but potassium channels are still open. The membrane eventually returns to its resting state. As an action potential is generated, Na+ flows inward across the membrane at one location. Depolarization of the action potential spreads to the neighboring regions of the membrane, initiating the action potential there. Depolarization and repolarization process is repeated in the next region of the membrane, so the action potential is propagated along the length of the axon.
The synaptic terminal is the part of each axon branch that forms the specialized junction. Chemical synapses involve the release of a chemical neurotransmitter by the presynaptic neuron. At each terminal, the presynaptic neuron synthesizes the neurotransmitter and packages it in synaptic vesicles. When an action potential arises at the synaptic terminal, the plasma membrane is depolarized, opening voltage-gated ion channels that allow calcium to diffuse into the terminal, which then cause the synaptic vesicles to fuse with the terminal membrane. This releases the neurotransmitter.
The generation of action potentials is the same until step 4, the falling phase or the repolarization of membrane potential. Repolarization requires the opening of potassium channels, and potassium ions can flow down their concentration gradient out of the cell. The buildup of positive charge outside the cell makes the inside relatively negative again, restoring membrane potential. When potassium channels are blocked, potassium ions cannot flow across the membrane, causing the membrane potential to stay positive for an extended period of time. The action potential is prolonged, and neurons keep sending signals, which may cause hypersensitivity and exhaustion of muscles. For example, ibutylide is a potassium ion channel blocker that treats irregular heartbeats.